And so we want to hear from these pastors this evening. We want to hear from Marvin Wells, Angel Morales, Nathi Hadebe, Derrick Clauschee, and Dave Swartz.
Hi, my name is Marvin Wells. My wife's name is Angela Wells. I pastor a church in Temple, Texas. I want to give you some of the highlights over the last 8 or 9 months, what God's been doing here in Temple, Texas. First of all, we had a tremendous Harvesters Homecoming. The last night of our Harvesters Homecoming, the offering is dedicated to world evangelism, and we were able to give more to our mother church, Colleen, as far as world evangelism than we've ever did in the past. In this past February, I was sitting in a restaurant, and a lady passed by and said, "You're the preacher, right?" I said, "Yes, ma'am, I am." She said, "Could you pray for me?" I said, "Absolutely. What is the issue?" She said, "I have multiple sclerosis." I said, "Do you say you have multiple sclerosis, or do the doctors say you have multiple sclerosis?" She said, "Let me put it to you this way. The operation starts this Tuesday, and this is Saturday." I said, "Well, ma'am, why don't you come out to our church this Sunday morning?" I pulled out a card, gave her the card, and invited her out to the church. I say, we still believe that Jesus Christ heals. We still believe in laying hands on the sick. Not only did she come out Sunday morning, but her husband and her children came out Sunday morning also. It's a wonderful sign when they give their life to Jesus Christ. Not only did they give their life to Jesus Christ, but we prayed for them for a healing. And so now this is Sunday, and so days go by, a couple of days go by, I'm waiting on reports and information. I happen to see her Wednesday morning, and I say, "Hey, what are you doing here? You're supposed to be recovering from surgery." She looks me right in the eye and said, "Jesus Christ has healed my body. I have no multiple sclerosis. I have no sickness. I have no need of surgery. Jesus Christ has healed my body." Not only that, but in each one of our services, whether it's online or in person, we pray for the sick. We've been praying for people online, and people have been texting me back and commenting me back. When you prayed that prayer, my migraine went away. When you prayed that prayer, my back pain went away. Jesus Christ still heals and still delivers. I want to thank Pastor Wayman Mitchell and Pastor Greg Mitchell for the opportunity afforded myself and others like myself in this tremendous fellowship. I want to also thank my pastor, Pastor James Rosario, for his leadership, and for his guidance and direction. God bless y'all.
Hello and good evening. My name is Angel Morales. Me, along with my wife, Hallie, and our 3 wonderful children, we've been pastoring here in Casa, Grande, Arizona for the last 3 years. God has really been helping us. We had the privilege of hosting a drive-in Easter service to which many people came. The church was excited for it. It was good to get back to church in a sense, and we saw God help us in that. People were saved. We saw backsliders come home to repentance. Through this all, God had put it on my heart to either look for a bigger building to expand. We were already reaching capacity, or to do a remodel. And in our building, we have a lot of space. It's just that the space was not conducive to growth. And so God had challenged us. Me and a couple of the men, we sat down and made a design for a whole new building that would help facilitate growth and enlargement. And thank God, through all of this, through the shutdown, we were able to get that work done and completed. God began to pour in the finances to accomplish all of this. Things began to line up, and we really saw the hand of God move on our behalf, and we were able to open our grand opening service. Everybody came with a spirit of excitement, a spirit of expectancy, and we rejoiced together in the new remodel of our building, which is able to facilitate double what we were currently holding, and God really moved and helped us there. We also had very timely revivals this year, these last 6 months, with Mitch Montoya from Taos, New Mexico, came and preached a tremendous revival, challenged the church, uplifted the church, encouraged them. We also just recently in June had evangelist Steve Bowman come, and this was absolutely timely. This was God-given. In his words, he says, God was mighty chatty, that revival. And if you've ever been to a Steve Bowman revival, you know people were given words of encouragement and direction and clarity. God helped our congregation. We thank God for our faithful leaders, those who have helped us circumnavigate these troubled waters over these last 6 months. And we look forward in anticipation to all that God is going to do. Thank you for your prayers. God bless you.
Greetings from Madagascar. My name is Nathi. My wife's name is Adrienne. We are pastoring in the city of Antsirabi with our two daughters, Kia and Talia. We started the year with the outreach in the center of town. We saw 60 souls saved. A miracle took place where a mayor waived the fee that we're supposed to pay. During the conference in January, we gave to World Evangelism. 2 days later, we got a call about the building that we had been inquiring about for some time. We had been looking for a building for almost 2 years. This building is in the center of town. In February, we opened into the new building. We started seeing a momentum, concerts, and outreaches that were fruitful. We hosted a marriage weekend. We had churches from Madagascar come, and couples responded to the challenge for ministry, and we had a couple of people getting saved during that time. In March, everything shut down. We couldn't live stream or do anything. So I challenged the disciples. I gave them Bible study. I met them once every week to give them Bible studies to host at their houses. We had a wonderful breakthrough during those times. Many of the men came around and said that they feel called to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ. Between March and May, we were able to have a miracle, financial miracles, where God opened doors for us to be able to meet the needs. Many of the people here in Madagascar lost their jobs, but they got miracle jobs as a result of that. In the middle of that, we saw souls saved. We were witnessing in the supermarket. We saw people also getting saved. Mid-May, we were able to open with limits for people and health regulation. Every service we have seen people coming in and getting saved. We have seen miracle conversions. One lady came in, got saved. She got delivered from the life of prostitution. She renounced that life and she got saved. She's still coming up until today. We've seen 5 backsliders come back, return home, 7 unsaved family members coming in and getting saved. One of the backsliders asked me to come pray for the mother-in-law. Went and prayed for the mother-in-law with a stroke and a swollen foot. After we left, she was able to move and able to sit down, and her speech started improving. We want to thank Pastor Mitchell for the love and for the heart for world evangelism. I want to thank Pastor Greg and Sister Lisa, and we are grateful for their example, support, and always being there when we call. Thank you, the Prescott Church, the staff, for your laborers, your faithfulness in giving to Madagascar, and everyone that gives to world evangelism. I also want to thank Pastor Bennett and Sister Kathy Bennett from the El Dorado Park Church. Thank you for partnering and your investment in this nation. God bless you.
Hello from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada. My name is Derrick, Clauschee, my wife Audrey, and our 2 girls Ashley and Casey were launched out of the Prescott conference in July of 2017. This year will mark 4 years since we have arrived to Saskatoon, and God has done many things for us since then. When we first arrived here, we had one family to begin with. They got us through our first Canadian winter by coming to our Bible studies faithfully every week. On June 12th, one of their daughters passed away tragically in a vehicle accident. It has been some time since we had seen them, but they reached out to us and asked me to officiate the funeral for them at their reserve called Red Pheasant. At this funeral, there were over 200 people present. I was able to preach to them a 20-minute sermon about Jesus Christ's love and forgiveness. At the end, I pulled an altar call, and dozens responded in prayer for salvation. The church has grown to 6 families now, and they attend faithfully and give faithfully. During this pandemic, God has been blessing our folks for their giving. 2 ladies in the church were asked at the beginning of this pandemic to decide what they wanted to do, whether to close their doors or keep them open. They chose to keep it open, and since then their employers blessed them both with a bonus check and even a raise. Even in this pandemic, God has been faithful. On Sunday morning, June 14th, we had our first official service with our church in attendance. They were a sight for sore eyes, since we had to close our doors back in March because of the COVID-19. For months, we resorted and adapted, like many others in the church world, to online church services. During those months of online church, I encouraged the folks to believe God for converts to be saved and pray they would come to church after this passed and we could meet again in church. Lo and behold, the second service we had together, we welcomed a new convert named Crystal to the fold. Her mother had been contending for her in prayer to be saved since we've been here. God once again has been faithful to help us in our church here in Saskatoon. Keep us in your prayers as well. We'd like to thank the Prescott Church for all your support in helping the Chinle Church send us here to Canada. Thank you, Pastor Mitchell and Pastor Greg, for the vision and for your faithfulness you have imparted to us through our pastor. We appreciate and thank the Canadian Fellowship and my brethren for your encouragement. And thank you to my mother church, the Chinle Church, and Pastor Audrey and Sandra for your loving support and prayers. God bless you all and have a great conference.
I'm Dave Swartz, and my wife Sarah and I were sent out of this past January 2020 conference to Taichung, Taiwan. There's much liberty to evangelize, and we definitely take advantage of that. We've had impact teams come from the Taipei area up north, and each time that they've come, we've always seen fruit. It's a great blessing that they have reached out to us and been willing to send people and help. The night markets are very popular here, and we'll set up in busy areas. We'll do some street preaching, singing, praying for people. Some have prayed with us there on the street, some for salvation, some for healing. One particular man told us later that he heard us testifying, and he was a backslider. He got so convicted, face to face with his sin as he's watching us and listening. And he contacted me, wanted to come to our church. He came, got his heart right with God. Having disciples come over to our home for food and for fellowship and for Bible study has been very effective, especially in building friendships and trust. These disciples and others, they're very interested in whether we're able to stay here in Taiwan because of our visa. So they're praying earnestly for us. And we've been granted a number of extensions that have taken us well past our initial time. But just recently, time is running out on our visas. And the current restrictions that are in place prohibit re-entry into Taiwan if we leave the island to renew our visa. But God has done a miracle for us, and we're getting a long-term resident visa. This is through a local university. I'll be teaching 1 class a week. It's also an open door to many more young people. And one of the professors even asked me, please talk about God at the end of each class. So that's tremendous favor. I want to thank the Pepiches for their labor here in Taiwan, Pastor Greg and the Prescott Church, Pastor Mitchell, Pastor Terry Haynes for their investment in this nation. And God bless you.